Hey YouTube, this is Trish Pickard. I'm coming at you with the bell pepper casserole. Like I said, it's 1 pound ground beef, 1/4 onions, 1 tablespoon garlic, and 3 bell peppers chopped up. I went ahead and chopped everything up early. So now we're going to move over to the pot, get her all in the pot. Let me turn her on. Sorry about the clicking of the oven. Or the stove. Cut everything up so my hands weren't all up in the way. So let's move on over to the pot. Because I know you love to see in the pot what's going on in the pot. So throw your bell peppers in there. This is how I do it. And my onions. And my garlic. And everything will be in the description below also. So don't give that no doubt about that. And it's usually about a tablespoon of Italian seasonings, but I forgot to measure those up. And of course salt and pepper to taste, because not everybody likes everything, you know, way crazy with the salt and pepper. But I try to sweat these vegetables down a little bit before I throw this meat in here, because there's a lot of water in there. So I can get the water I can pour some of the water out. So that's just me. So I preheated the oven, and then I'm going to work on the rice at the same time too. And I just use the beef rice-a-roni and follow the directions on the pack. You can use whatever, like you can make rice pilaf and tofu if you want instead, or ground turkey instead of ground beef, or ground chicken, whatever you want. But just make sure that the rice that you get is the same flavor as the meat choice that you put, because then it alters everything a little bit, I think. So, and I also, if you look at my list, I also have a stuffed bell pepper recipe on my channel. But when I tried it this way, I think it comes out better this way. So now we make it this way, because everything's mixed and you don't have to cut it all up and full with all the cutting it up and adding butter and all that stuff. And a lot of times, if you see the slices are about, I'd say like a 1/4 of an inch. It's to your liking, because last time I made it, I only used 2 bell peppers and thought that it needed more bell peppers. So it's, you know, that one can be, the bell peppers can be altered however you choose to alter your bell peppers. I already have my oven preheated to 350. And you're not going to bake it in the oven as long as you would this way also, because the other way, you're boiling the bell peppers for a really long time. This way, you're sauteing them before they ever go in the oven. So There is some differences in the recipe. So just know that if you want a quicker method of cooking the bell pepper casserole, because that's what it's called, then this is it. If you want stuffed bell peppers that don't have like a lot of, like, they still have flavor, don't get me wrong, because I love those too. But ever since I made them this way, now I just really, when I crave bell peppers, I crave it like this. Okay. So you see how they're like breaking down? I'll give them a few more minutes to break down, and then the rice is going, because I want everything to be done pretty well at the same time. So but while it's cooking in the oven, of course, I'm not going to just make it sit around and look at the temperature on the oven and count down the timer with me. Like, we'll take a little break and we'll come back, and because it's roughly about 30-35 minutes in the oven instead of 45 minutes with the stuffed bell peppers. So there is a wee bit difference in the recipe. Depending on either way you do it, whether it be stuffed bell peppers or bell pepper casserole. And this is actually bell pepper casserole. And a number of different people do this a completely different way than I do it. So it's your own personal preference on how you like it. But this is how I do mine. And while that's cooking, I'll move you over here so you can see. The rice, because it gets pretty brown pretty fast. So, but that's why I buy that particular rice. I don't like just regular white rice in it. I don't think it has enough flavoring. I think that if I doctored up with some seasonings and used beef broth, it would really enhance the flavor of it. But I don't do that personally. So we'll move you back over to the really good, important part of this meal, which is the bell peppers and onions and garlic. Too bad you can't smell it. You'd be really enjoying that smell. But the rice is getting real cooked, real kind of quick on me. And if you notice, they're starting to collect quite a bit of water. But I usually drain this grease and water out anyway, because I don't like to leave that grease from the hamburger in there either. So even if I were not to drain that right now and I put the hamburger in there and mix it up and everything, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. But let me stir this rice again. I'm going to open a can of And that's the other thing that I do, which some people don't do. Instead of doing the whole amount of water, I add tomato sauce and water. So to the rice, my can opener is a little bit noisy also. Sorry about that, guys. And it's one of those high gadgety ones. Sometimes it works for me and sometimes it don't. So it worked that time. Shocking. Shocking. Okay. That's real good. Looking real good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add. Let's see. Check out the measurements on that. Okay, 1.5. So I got to add 1 more cup of water. I usually add just a pinch more than what it says because sorry about all the sizzling and noise that it makes. Because for some reason, tomato sauce, even though it's not tomato paste, it still seems a little on the saucy side. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of thick and robust. So let's check on these bell peppers. See how they're doing. Oh, they're good. Okay. Yeah, I can turn them down just a wee bit more. I think I'm going to throw this ground beef in here. And some people do it opposite. They cook the ground beef and then they add the bell peppers, but it all has to cook. And I like the bell peppers to get kind of mixed up in the ground beef. So that's why I do it this way. So let's mix that seasoning pack in there. Bring it to a boil. And then put a lid on her. And let her go for 15, 14 so minutes. I think it's 12 to 14 minutes, something like that. I always forget. I have to always double check the package. And that's the other thing that you have to make sure is that package that comes in, the rice-a-roni, gets mixed up real good in there because sometimes it'll get clumpy. I don't know why that is, but it does. See, now it's going to get going real wild. Now I can switch over to my other tool that I got from Temu, which I love so much. Because now that it's everything is broke down, like it should be. So, there's that. And I know I have a tendency to pull it off the burner. Okay, and then turn this down to low. Cover it. And I cook it for 12 minutes and I check it. So, but that's just me. Like I said, you guys do what you know is best, and how you like your rice. But remember, anything that doesn't get completely cooked will cook in the oven. The one thing I will say though is do not, and I can't stress it enough, do not put your ground beef, make sure it's fully cooked. There's a lot of folks that don't do that. Let me get a little sip of water while that's cooking. It gets hot in this kitchen with that oven on like that. Sorry, folks. But yeah, it gets a wee bit hot in this kitchen. And I have my pan back there for the whole thing to go into. So but you can do it with tofu, ground turkey, or ground chicken. But it's how you like to make your food. But I'm just giving you my take on it. But you can alter it to what you like. I also have my pan already ready to mix everything up before I put it in the oven. And then we'll come back after it's been in the oven for 35 minutes. Not that we're going anywhere, because this ground beef is not done. And I want you guys to see that the ground beef, when I say make sure your ground beef is cooked all the way, I want you guys to see. I mean serious business when I'm talking ground beef. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, you know, that eat steaks rare. I'm not one of them gals. So, yeah. So we probably have a total of maybe like 3 or 5 more minutes left on that. Yeah, about 3 to 5 more minutes, because I have to keep putting my glasses on to make sure that it's cooked. And then I'll drain it off, because like I said, I don't want to leave all that water in there. I don't like it that watery. And then we'll put the rest of the items, which is the diced we'll put these diced tomatoes. And this time I got all my fixings at the Food for Less, because normally I go to the Walmart, but I've been peeking at the Food for Less, and they've been doing pretty good with their shopping. They've been coming up in their quality and everything. Like before, goodness sakes, it was like they didn't really seem to care about their store very much, but they seem like they have either better management or better owners or something. So leave me comments in the description below if you like the shortcut recipes or the longer recipes, because I know that some people prefer the longer recipes so they don't feel like they're missing any steps. But I didn't want my hands in front of the camera through the whole thing while I was cutting up these bell peppers. So that's why I did it this way this time, and I wanted to try to make the video a little bit shorter, because I think this is a pretty quick meal. I think it's a quick meal. It depends on who you ask. Okay, let's check this again and see how she's going. I wanted to get a little drink and not choke. So I get a little bit nervous about that. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, the ground beef is all cooked. The bell peppers look plump and beautiful. And the onions, and it smells delicious, so I'm going to go ahead and drain her off. Okay, well that's draining now. I'll put this back over here. I'll add those, which is the Italian styled tomatoes. Okay, there we go. So now that that's done, now I'll use the spoon, mix her together, mix up the tomatoes, move that out of the way. Mix the tomatoes all up so you can get a peek in there. Okay, let's check on this rice. I think it's done. Oh yeah, it's done. I just gotta mix her up. Okay. Okay. So now what I do at this point is I turn this off. Move this lid. Because now I'm going to need this pan. To put everything in. But what I do at this point is this and this, which you can't see what I'm pointing to, but it's the rice. And I mix it in slowly. I try not to mix it in too fast. So that's that. Okay. And then we got to get the foil. I got to add a little bit more. I think it needs it, so I'm going to add it. You add it as you like it, but I always look at it this way. If I can't smell it, there may not be enough of it, okay? But everybody's different in that way, so let's move over here. And let's go down. And here's my glass pan that I'm going to put it in the oven with. Okay. There we go. And then you put some foil over it, throw it in the oven for 350 for 30 to 35 minutes. But I'm gonna not make you wait and watch the timer. That's a little crazy. So once we get her in the oven, then we'll be back to take her out of the oven and have a little taste test. Okay? I don't want you guys to miss out on the taste test, okay? And how I fix it up is pretty much the same as the stuffed bell peppers with the butter and the butter bread and everything. This is one of the meals that I just absolutely love, butter bread, but I was raised on butter bread, so some people understand butter bread. If you couldn't afford biscuits back in the day, you did butter bread. But people, you know, either made biscuits. Sorry, that's a little bit heavy for me. Okay, now the timer starts. But a lot of people from back in the day, they couldn't afford to make biscuits, or they had other things designed for the flour, like fried chicken or whatever. So they used it for that. So I just got to put everything away. So we'll see you back in about 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. We took her out of the oven. We have our bowl ready. I have my bread out. We'll put some butter on the bread. Let me get this oil off. So it can breathe for a few minutes, because the last time I did that, it got way, way hot. Let me butter my bread while that cools down just a few. And now, making my husband's bowl first, because I always make his food first. You know, when you're married, you always think of your spouse before yourself. Well, I do anyway. Not everybody does. Everybody just lets them serve up themselves. But I like to serve my husband, because, you know, typically he's working full time. So when he has his days off, I like to get him his food and everything. Okay, that's still cooking hot. And then we move over here, and then you have your butter bread, and then you take some butter and you lather it up on in here like that. Put her on the sides like that. Put a little extra salt on top. Oh goodness, my pepper shaker ran out again. Give me 1 second, I gotta fill it up. Goodness, I should have checked that. I usually check it quite often, but I made breakfast this morning and I cooked dinner last night, but I didn't think the whole process through that I might need more pepper. Okay, so let's get the pepper on here. Oh, let me get this oven off so it can start cooling down my house. There we go. And I'll be right back with you with a taste test. Okay, now let's get to my bowl. Even though it's real chilly outside, for some reason, I don't want a lot tonight. So, but I always make a lot because I always think of like the next day, like leftovers. You know what I mean? I'm about my leftovers. I really enjoy my leftovers. So, put some salt, some pepper, and then we'll have our little taste test. Okay, let's have our taste test. I got my little fork, mix her around, and I'll get my butter bread in a second, because we're here for the bell pepper casserole, not so much the butter bread. Everybody does theirs a little bit different, so that's what she looks like. Trying to help her cool off a little bit so it's not so hot. And that was what I was going to tell you, was you can use, let me lower you down a little bit more. Sorry, I was all up in your face there for a second. Say you don't happen to like green bell peppers, you want, like, you prefer the red ones or the yellow ones, which they're sweeter. These ones are really mild, so it just depends on what you like. Let me take my glasses off. Depends on what you like flavor-wise, for your bell peppers. Yeah, I like it so much better like this, because all the bell peppers flavor gets in with the meat, and the onions and Italian seasonings and the garlic, like everything kind of gets mixed up really, really well. And then when you bake it in the oven with the rice, even though the rice is just added and then you just bake it in the oven, it still adds like this real sweet, deep, like you've been cooking it for hours in the oven. Because back in the day when my mama used to do it, she would just throw everything, cut up everything, and throw it all in a pan and pop it in the oven, you know. And let me put that down. Pop everything in the oven and then serve it with our butter bread, you know what I mean? But I always questioned if that was safe, you know, because there was always like a layer of grease on the top, and I didn't like that too much. But I mean, after I went through, you know, cooking class and stuff, they would say just pour it off, no big deal, you know. It's not a big deal. So anyway, remember, if you have nothing nice to say to somebody or something, don't say anything at all. Ta-ta for now.